All right. Part one, I explained deployment and the turn one, and the whole goal of this game was bite down on the red crayon and let's out world eater world eaters. Let's show what happens when you pressure and get in the face of a melee pressure army. They staged up, moved forward, took some shots with Forgefiends. On my turn, I full sent my entire army forward. When I full sent my entire army forward, I crashed in, I killed some stuff, I lost a rhino, but now is the dreaded turn 2 clapback, which I knew was coming. So first thing he did was he moved his 8-bound and his slaughterbound over here to get them ready to attack in. I did Overwatch. When I Overwatched, I almost killed an 8-bound, but not quite, is what it is. When he did make that move, I think shocked him a little bit. I moved my Dominion. I rolled a 4. I moved them forward. And my goal was I was trying my best to not rage at tabletop to contain his 8-bound from coming this direction. So what he ended up doing was he ended up just saying, okay, these 8-bound are just going to kill these guys right here, which I couldn't have been happier with. He's going to send 135 points into 60 points. I'm all for that. Let's do it. So he did that. His Forgefiend didn't need to move because he was planning on shooting straight into these Sacrosancts. Not a big deal. I was totally fine with that. These Dominions, when he moved, did get back in their car. And the reason for that was this car was gonna drive forward and then deposit them out in front of this Forgefiend on the next turn, because my goal was to do some damage. He did move these Chaos Spawn out here since my Overwatch was down. And what ended up happening was these 8-bound absolutely murdered all of these girls, killed them all, not even a question. They ended up about here, and then they did consolidate in to both of these units. He wanted to kill the Overwatch threat, so he charged in here, which I was totally fine with. When he did this, I did spend 1 CP to heroic. When that happened, it ended up looking like this, but this is where you can't be afraid. Those 8-bound are absolutely scary. There's no question about it. But the Sacrosancts' job is to stand on the funny circle. So I got to get him on that funny circle. So when this happened, I went, okay, he did shoot into my Sacrosancts down here. No surprise, he picked up 3. He didn't roll great. I rolled okay. It was pretty average. Then the Chaos Spawn charged in. Chaos Spawn picked up another 3. Then here in the middle, he made, in my opinion, a very bad mistake. He should have put everything into the Sacrosancts. He thought that the 8-bound would be enough to just kill them himself. So he put the Slaughterbound into the Sanctifiers and used his once per game so that he would have, I think he has a total of 11 attacks with that, or 12 attacks. It's something crazy. And then the 8-bound into these. So without question, he popped off and he killed all but 1 lonely Sanctifier. The Slaughterbound is a monster. He is a monster. Here's the problem. The 8-bound, they have a total of 18 attacks, and because of my +1 to wound, you have to keep in mind they're wounding on 1 higher. So long story short, they did kill a bunch. He killed a total of 6. So I had 4 left. He thought he was going to wipe the squad, though. He didn't. When my Sacrosancts fought back, they not only killed the one that was hurt, they killed a second one. And that's where I think he was really shocked at how that whole thing transpired. Down here at the bottom, I was able to kill 1 Chaos Spawn, and that was pretty much the exchange. Now, here's where the game really broke open, and keep in mind, he still has all these berserkers that he wants to charge into the middle and really get into it. And so this is where you have to lean into it, because it can be very scary to go, oh my gosh, he's got all these guys. I healed back 2 units. I'm dominating him on points at this point. So he has no choice but to play aggressive. I healed back 1 unit down here. I'm the defender, if you remember. So they're going to attack first, and I should easily kill that chaos spawn. But this is where I really put the pedal to the metal on him, was I said, okay, I decided to move this immolator. It's full 12, which got it right here. Girls got out of the car. Everybody shot, blew that guy out of the park. And because those Dominion had gotten, they now are now acting as a forward screen, because they were something like this. So they were like that. They had killed that. The shooting is now gone. And I went, okay, what do I need to do here? So the immolator can fire into combat. I knew the immolator was going to die if it did not fall back, and that's okay. I'm okay with it dying. My preference is that it just needs to hold. It needs to do the best it can at holding this stuff. But what I decided to do was to fall it back instead. I brought in, not from strategic reserve, but just reserve, I brought in my Retributors. So sometimes it pays to have very small models that can fit in small places. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to get all of them in, the last one to shoot, but I was going to be able to get 3 of them in that could absolutely shoot into these chaos spawn that are sitting on this point. Which are going to come and murder my sisters on the next turn. So I said, okay, what are we going to do here? We had fallen our immolator back a little bit, just so that he could be there. The Retributors did come in. They did shoot. Once I measured and saw that 2 of them could see into these guys, I actually fired 2 into the 8-bound and the 3rd one into the chaos spawn. The one in the chaos spawn whiffed. The 2 into the 8-bound killed 2 8-bound. And my unit that had that was now out of combat moved over, charged into this 1 8-bound, killed it, and then consolidated because of how they were situated. They were about like this. They did kind of half wrap him. They ended up consolidating onto the point and into this other unit after they killed the 8-bound. And this unit had moved up, and I used my miracle dice to guarantee the charge. They came in and they absolutely killed everything in the middle. I killed this thing down here too, but here's the point I wanted to kind of lay out here. At this point, when Morgan had gone ahead and moved up as well, because she was ready to fight here in the middle if necessary. She advanced because I knew I wasn't going to need her for this piece. He only has these 2 Berserker bricks, and I was completely screening at this point. So at this point, my opponent actually did concede because he realized that he wasn't going to be able to actively remove all of these Sacrosancts off the board. And these ones down here, we're going to keep healing. And these chaos spawn, while they're going to kill these girls, I've got all of these units that are going to just keep fighting in and fighting in and fighting in. So by pushing the pressure to him and really getting in his face, the interesting thing was, like in this fight, he had gosh, 600 points here that he had yet to get into the fight, but that ended up being it. And I had 400 points in Morgan Vahl that didn't even get a chance to play, but it didn't need them because I applied so much pressure that he had no choice but to collide in, and his units were just significantly more expensive than my units. And by offering that trade and then punishing it, you can really capitalize against melee armies. So I hope this kind of walking you guys through these turns is helpful for learning how to fight against melee armies. Not every game's obviously going to go like this, and there's always things that can happen. But what I'm trying to just show you guys is that by putting pressure against a melee army and pushing the tempo, you can really throw them off their game, because most melee armies, whether they're Blood Angels or World Eaters or Black Templar or, any of them, they're used to setting the pace, setting the tempo. They're used to putting you on your back heels and then you playing that kind of scared, oh, I'm going to play 5 smart rounds of Warhammer. Against some armies, you just have to get in their face and say, we're going to play 3 rounds of Warhammer, and we're either going to get an hour break or we're going to go to lunch early. Like one of us is going to be happy and one of us won't be. And that a lot of the time can help you take them out of their plan and force them into yours. So if this was helpful, drop a like and subscribe. More content. I'm going to try to keep putting content out for this, for all 3 armies that I play, so I can give you different perspectives. So hope this is helpful, y'all. Have a great night.